So today we're going to go over pump operations. We're going to start with pumper 1. We're going to move over to engine 3. For engine 1, the first thing you want to do is come in. You're going to turn your master switch on. Okay? That turns on the power for the entire truck. So you'll see up here on the dash right here, we have instructions on how to engage the fire pump. Right. When you get to your destination, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to put the truck in neutral. Set your parking brake. Transfer case goes to neutral. PTO switch goes on. You see your pump engage light come on. You're going to drop the truck down into drive. You're going to wait for this light to come on. As soon as that light is on, that means your pump is on. Now to disengage the pump, you're just going to take it out of drive. Light's going to go off. PTO light off. Light goes off. Transfer case back into neutral. Now you're ready to drive again. Now, when you have the pump engaged, this truck will not drive. It is not a pump and roll truck, unless you are using the auxiliary pump, which we'll get into in another video. Now we're going to go out to the pump panel and we're going to take a look at what we need to do to make everything work out there. So out here at the pump panel, the things you need to know: once the pump is engaged, you're going to need to open up your tank to pump valve, and that's just a pull and a turn, and that locks that in place. Now you can actually do this before you leave. You can open up this tank to pump, pull it, turn it, and it's locked. It's not going to stick out farther than the truck, so you can have this open all the way and drive down the road. It's not going to cause any harm. You're going to come down here to your pump bypass. You're going to turn that on just a little bit. Now the reason you want this open is when you've got the pump going, but you don't have anything going out, you don't have a crosslay open, that's going to send water across the pump to cool it off. And that's very important. These pumps overheat really quickly. Okay? Now, say you want to open up crosslay 1. You've got crosslay 1 labeled for you. Everything is labeled. You got 1, you got 2, rear discharge, 1.5 inch, 2.5 rear discharge. And the hose reel, which is in the center and the back. Okay? Say you want to open up crosslay 1. You're going to pull this out just like you did this. You're going to turn it, you're going to lock it. And that'll charge this first set of hose right here. Now to get your pump up to speed, you're going to be watching these two gauges here. This one here is your input to the pump. If you're hooked to a hydrant, that's going to tell you how much pressure you have coming off of that hydrant. This here is your output pressure. That's going to tell you how much pressure you have going out to your hoses. Now you want to keep this up above 100. 110 is about where we will usually run at. So if you've got crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and the hose reel all running at the same time, that's going to drop your pressure. So you're going to see your pressure drop from 100 down to almost 75. And you want to keep your throttle up, which is right here. You'll turn this, and that'll throttle up your engine, and that'll get you up above 100 psi on that. While you're doing that, when you're hooked to a hydrant, you need to keep an eye on this gauge. Because if you're hooked to a hydrant and this gauge drops below 0, you're putting a vacuum on the hydrant system, which is the city's main water system, and you will suck a water main flat and do a lot of damage. So you want to make sure that this does not drop below 0. Running more than 2 large lines and 1 small line is not recommended. Do not do that. Call another engine. Now you're going to be watching here. Say you've got crosslay 1 charged. This is your pressure on crosslay 1. So if you've got 2 crosslays going and they shut down the nozzle on crosslay 2, your pressure on 1 is going to go from 110 to 130. 130 is very hard to control. So you want to keep an eye on that, and you'll want to run your pressure down on the truck until they open up crosslay 2. And then you'll run it back up. So this is why it is important that we have someone at this control panel with the radio on at all times. Because if we shut down one crosslay, we can send our other hose team flying. They can lose control of their hose, and we do not want that. You want your radio on next to your ear, or you can grab the headset out of the truck and have it on so that you can hear everything that's going on. If you are running this pumper, this is where you live. You stay here, you do this job. This is your job. Okay? Now to shut everything down, crosslay 1, you're just going to turn it back, close it. If you have your truck hooked to a hydrant, you'll pull this out and lock it to fill. And to close it, you just turn it and close it. Tank to pump, you want to make sure that your throttle is all the way down before you close this. It's actually best if you shut the truck off, or shut the pump off, before you shut your tank to pump. Because if there's no water going to that pump, they burn up really, really fast. To shut it, you just turn it and shove it. When you come back down here, you'll shut your pump bypass, get up and you'll shut your PTO off, which I've already shown you how to do. Now we're going to move over to engine 3. It's a little bit different than this engine. We'll show you how to do that. This is engine 3. It's a little bit different than engine 1 in that it's an older truck. It's actually a little bit easier to operate for me as far as the pumping operations go. Now, again, you're going to turn on your master disconnect, which is right here. Turning code clicks. It turns everything on. So we're going to go ahead and fire this one up. Start out like we're driving somewhere. So, when you get to where you're going in this one, it's pretty much the same. We're going to put the truck in neutral. Put the park brake on. Now this one does not have the transfer case that you have to shift out. It's just put the truck in neutral. Then you're going to shift your PCO down twice. Pump and gauge light will come on. This big green light here will come on. And then just like the other one, you're going to push it into drive. Okay to pump will come on. Now to take it out, all you got to do is put it in neutral. Wait a second. This is very important. If you don't wait, you're going to strip the gear on the PTO. Come out slow. Out 1, out 2. You'll notice you didn't hear any ratcheting noise. That means the pump came out without stripping any of the gear off. And then you're just going to shut her down. So on this truck, everything's the same, but it's a little bit different. The placement's a little different. For this, if you try to open this tank to pump with this step up, like it is, fold it up, you're going to break your hand. So just fold your step down, pull your tank to pump out all the way, turn it to lock it. It's a little bit stiff. And then you've got your throttle here. You run it up and get your pressure gauge here up above 100, preferably around 110. Make sure you're not creating a vacuum on the city's water supply if you're hooked to a hydrant. Now your crosslay 1 is here. Again, everything is labeled and it's color coded for you. So you've got yellow is 1, white is 2. You got your 3 and 4 outlets. Most of the time we're going to be running off crosslay 1. So you're going to pull that out and turn it to lock it just like you did this one. Now the bypass on the other truck you have to open to keep the pump cool. These ones have an engine cooler and a pump cooler. These levers here, they're almost always set to open. Always check it anyway. All the way to the left is open, all the way to the right is closed. You want them all the way to the left and open. Now, if you're having trouble getting water out, or you're not building pressure on your pressure gauge, you'll throttle it up just a little bit and you'll pull this primer knob. And you'll hear a kind of a grinding noise, and that's going to be forcing water down into the top of the pump to prime it. As soon as you get pressure here, push that closed. And to shut this down, you're just going to do the opposite of what you did to turn it on. You're going to push your cross lays in, run your throttle down, turn your tank to pump, unlock it, shove it to close it. You can put the step up, you can leave it down. The step doesn't really matter until you slam your hand into it, and then it matters. So these stay open, and you just get up inside and you'll shut your PTO down like I showed you how to do earlier.